Today I will talk about how to repair a motor. This is a very good motor. In my previous video I showed a small test of it. It worked well, perfectly on the water, but 2 years have passed and something unpleasant happened. Specifically, the throttle stopped. Resetting. When you turn the throttle all the way, the motor revs up. If you try to let off the throttle, there's no response. The motor speeds along and doesn't slow down. This happened while I was moving on the way. I had to remove the top cover, disconnect the cable, and adjust it manually from above. So we need to figure out what the problem is. The throttle handle turns with some resistance. It's stiff, not how it should be. We need to figure out what the problem is, because on the water, the motor behaves very unpredictably. Let's remove the top cover. And here's what we see. You can see the carburetor throttle valve here. We turn it. If we let go, here it is. Now let's tighten it a little. And turn on the throttle. You can see that the cable goes all the way to the stop. And when we turn it back, there's no reverse movement here. This could be either a faulty return spring on the carburetor or an issue with the cable itself. But here I can see that the spring is intact and undamaged, so we'll look into the cable, which may be broken somehow. To remove the throttle cable, first you need to use a Phillips screwdriver to unscrew the bolt that secures the inner part of the cable, like this. After that, take the sheath out of its mounts. There is a plastic retainer here. Disconnect it. There is also a retainer on the starter housing, and the cable goes inside. There is an additional protective cover here that shields this cable from overheating, which could be caused by the engine. Next, we need to remove the cable sheath. And the cable itself comes out of the tiller. To do this, there is a recess here where the cable goes in. You need to take it out of this recess. To do this, slightly and carefully loosen the tension of the cable and its sheath, and then very gently and slowly push it forward, making sure not to force it. Here, a loop forms, which will allow you to remove the cable end like this. And after that, you can easily pull on the inner part and remove it from the sheath. Here is the cable. It is about 50 centimeters long. There is a small rivet at the end. We don't need this for now. Now we need to deal with the cable sheath. Now take it out of the braid itself from the tiller. Carefully. All the way in. It's definitely hard to reach in here. Well, here it is. The sheath is out, and let's see. What's the problem? And here's the issue. The protective sheath failed and melted all the way down to the metal. I suspect that the plastic from the protective sheath got inside, and now it's jamming the cable. The best option, of course, is to buy a new cable or a new cable sheath. But I'll try to deal with this cable, and maybe I'll manage to fix it. Our task is to clean out this spot from inside the cable so that it doesn't get stuck anymore. Let's take the cable. Let's see which side is closer to the damaged area. Here we have the edge, and here is the damaged area. So we need to remove the end cap of this sheath, which is crimped on. Here it is. There is one crimp point here and another on the opposite side, 2 in total. Take a small screwdriver and carefully bend this crimp open. The metal here is thin, so there shouldn't be any problem. And let's try to finally remove it now. There we go, just like that. Here is the cable end. You can see that the cable hole is clogged with grease. So there's enough lubricant here. Let's lightly clean off any excess. And this is what we see, a thin hole. Now we'll try to clean out this spot, which has been sealed from the inside, using whatever materials we have on hand. We take a thin wire, about the same diameter as the inner cable. And we'll try to clean out this spot that has been sealed. We take a candle and heat the tip of the wire until it's red hot. Slowly, we'll burn out the remaining plastic that's left in the sheath. We heat it up and also reach the spot that has been sealed. I noticed that the length here is about 20 centimeters. I hold it with my hand at this spot so I know where the damaged area ends. Once again, we heat it up and clean it out. And we keep doing this until the sheath is cleaned out inside and our standard cable can go back into its sheath. If this didn't completely remove all the excess plastic inside the casing, we take a screwdriver, a piece of wire slightly thicker than our cable, and at low speed we'll try to clean out the inside using this wire. We insert it inside and start cleaning. For better cleaning, it's necessary to make a fresh cut at the end with pliers. This forms a kind of blade that will effectively remove the remaining plastic. In general, the trick didn't quite work out. It turned out that inside this black cable, in addition to the metal braid, there's also this kind of sleeve. It's made of thin plastic. And when I started cleaning out the core, the inside, it got in the way, melted together, and I'll have to clean out half the cable again. To avoid having to do that, I found a similar cable by diameter, the cable's sheath. It's actually made of a rubberized material on the outside. It's a bit old, so I'm going to reinforce it on the outside. Now, with a special heat shrink tube, and after that we'll put end caps on the cable and it can be installed on the engine. We take some little and start gradually lubricating the inside of the sheath. To do this, we dip the cable into the little and with small short movements push it inside. It's very important that the entire inner part is lubricated, because otherwise the cable won't slide well later on. Now it is necessary to crimp the ends of the cable braid. To do this, we'll thoroughly flare out the ends, and after that we can proceed with the crimping. There we go. There should be no burrs or snags. Now insert the cable into the braid, and after that you can install it onto the motor in reverse order. You need to move the throttle lever to the lowest idle position and use a Phillips screwdriver to secure the cable in its mount. Later on you'll need to check how the minimum and maximum throttle levels work while the engine is actually running. Secure it well and you can check how it operates. You can see that the throttle valve moves smoothly in both directions. This indicates that friction is minimal and the cable is working perfectly.